tvOS 26 is finally here, and while there are a lot of new features, there are still ways it can improve. Here's where we stand and whether or not you should upgrade your Apple TV. Real quick though, if you want to keep up to date with the latest Apple news and reviews, hit that subscribe button. Apple announced tvOS 26 at its Worldwide Developer Conference in June of 2025. It's been in beta testing all summer and is just now ready to reach the masses. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the biggest new features, highlighting some areas that fall short, and ultimately giving you my opinion on Apple's latest TV software. The first big change you'll see after updating is Liquid Glass, Apple's new UI refresh. It's not as evident on Apple TV as it is on iPhone, iPad, and Mac, but it's there. You'll see it exhibited in the updated Control Center, the transparent top bar on the home screen, and in the media scrub bar. In very Apple fashion, there are many little nuances you'll notice over time with that Liquid Glass overhaul. Things like the highlights on icons as you move across them with your cursor, or how the media playing refracts off of different on-screen elements. The biggest limitation is that this actually requires a newer Apple TV. It's only supported on the second generation Apple TV 4K and newer. If you have an OG Apple TV 4K or the Apple TV HD, both still quite capable boxes, this update will look identical for you. You're not going to have any of the new appearances. It's just going to look like tvOS 18 that you already had, but with some extra features. Throughout the OS, there are other changes not related to Liquid Glass that I do think are welcome. Like in the TV app, posters are now vertical and take up less space than when they were horizontal. And some of the menus have been tweaked and cleaned up. Overall, it's a positive change to the interface, but nothing radical by any means. And I do think Apple could have gone further with this Liquid Glass InDesign update. Then we have the Music app and its new karaoke mode. Apple calls it Apple Music Sing. It's a very Apple-esque feature because not only are you using the lyric view on the TV, but you use your iPhone as the microphone. I did a video on the lyric feature more than a year ago saying how iPhone would be perfect for this, and well, here we go. I'm not taking credit for it, but I do expect a royalty check, Apple. The tech behind this is super cool, and I love the idea of it, but I'm also not a karaoke man. Like, y'all don't want that. So admittedly, it's a bit tough to say whether or not this is a killer feature or not. So why don't you all tell me, is this a feature that you're going to use? Let me know in the comments. Some things Apple did are a bit less flashy, but I think are ultimately very beneficial to users. Like profiles. Apple's made it possible for apps to support profiles for years. Yet none of the major players do this. It's kind of ridiculous. Imagine when you go in to log in or use the Hulu, Netflix, or Peacock apps, it will link your app profile with your Apple TV profile and skip that whole who's watching step each time. In an attempt to possibly push this along and spur adoption, Apple has now by default let users get a prompt for who is using the TV each time the Apple TV wakes up. It's actually really handy because I was terrible at switching to Harrison's profile. Then I ended up with a lot of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and Bluey in my TV queue. The prompt keeps those shows in his personal watch list and out of mine. If people start using profiles more, perhaps app devs will finally start adopting them too. In a similar vein, Apple's made it easier to sign into third-party apps in the first place. It carries the login information from your iPhone or iPad to the Apple TV, negating the need to sign in the first place. This should seriously improve the setup process, one of the biggest pain points for set-top boxes, though I did not get to test this because it requires app devs to support it, and my Apple TV is, already set up. Then we have support for Thread 1.4. This makes smart home devices more reliable, basically, that are using Thread. Not flashy or even visible, but welcomed. For audio, any AirPlay speaker, such as those from Sonos or Libertone, can be set as the default audio output permanently. This was previously limited to just HomePod and HomePod minis. Users can now customize screensavers. Instead of getting all of the aerial ones, they can pick just the ones they want. Apple also seemed to put a good amount of effort into the FaceTime app this year. Many have wondered if this is a precursor to Apple adding a camera to the Apple TV. My guess, though, Is it Apple just is sharing the dev work between the Apple TV and the upcoming Smart Display? Apple could use a very similar interface and handoff feature with that display, which was reportedly based off of tvOS. You can customize contact posters and see when someone is calling you on your phone directly on the TV. It's cool because you can put the call on hold, then walk over to your iPhone and grab it. I've definitely been zoning out watching TV when my phone rings and I have to hop up and go grab it. This is great because I can answer right on the TV, keeping the other person on the line while I go to find my phone. There are other minor changes too, but those are the biggest ones. Well, it seems tvOS is a mature operating system with few new features to add. I know I see this all the time in comments saying, what else do you want it to do? I think there's a lot more. For example, Apple could add more iOS features like screen time for kids or a real first-party home app. Apps, specifically games, could have better access to on-device storage. Right now it's limited, and if Apple TV determines it needs more space, it can just jettison app files. If you're using something like an N64 emulator on your Apple TV, you could launch the app only to find all of your files and games had been removed. I'd also love to see widgets. How helpful would it be to have some general widgets on your Apple TV home screen showing the current weather, maybe calendar appointments so you don't miss them, newly launched movies, TV shows, or podcasts? I'd love to see the news app come to the Apple TV. It would be great to highlight the video or audio clips that are shown in like the other versions of the app. Apple could even show top stories in a widget, and then you could like watch the audio or video directly, or you could save it to your list to read later on your iPhone or iPad. And as we're getting into like sports season again, like with football, I'd love the ability to move between like two games of something at once, like the MLB app and like Hulu to watch like the Browns and the Guardians, and then just jump in between, like kind of like a picture-in-picture swapping feature. That would be really helpful. And what about Apple Intelligence? This has to be coming. I'm certain of it. I want better recommendations for movie and TV shows based on what I watch. Apple would be really great at this because it knows what I watch across all apps and could give me more tailored suggestions. Otherwise, each app now gives me suggestions based on just what I watch in its own catalogs. It should be universal, other than Netflix. You could also get better answers from Siri. You could ask follow-ups, stumble in your wording, or maybe it would just work because still sometimes a lot it doesn't. So should you upgrade your Apple TV to tvOS 26? Heck yeah! It has no problems in my testing, extremely little bugs, and all it does is make your TV better. My biggest complaint was that Apple put a big old Sing app icon on your home screen, but then it added a toggle to hide it. It's a solid update with a lot of new features and under-the-hood enhancements. But there is still more that Apple can do. I'd love for Apple to put more love into tvOS and Apple TV, and maybe they will when some new hardware is ready. I think we'll find out soon enough. Let me know what you think of tvOS 26 down below in the comments. Otherwise, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.